Do you know the real reason that we get insomnia and why it seems like it can just go on for months and months and years? If so, this video is for you, and most people don't really know the real reason, so stick around. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Caitlin and I'm an insomnia coach, and I had severe insomnia for more than 20 years. I used to sleep every other day, sometimes longer, with just 2 to 3 hours of sleep each time. So I get it, I know where you're coming from, and I have been through a lot of what you have gone through. And I overcame it, so I know you can too. So today we're talking about kind of the basics, kind of the base of what you need to learn to overcome insomnia. It really helps to understand and know why you have insomnia so that you kind of understand what direction you need to take to overcome insomnia. Because, spoiler alert, it's not taking a supplement, a gadget, a technique, or I don't mean technique, but I mean all these things that you can take, all these external things, they're not doing it. Trust me. So let's start from the very beginning of your insomnia and work our way forward. There's so much miscommunication out there and misunderstanding about insomnia, so buckle up. This is great information and it's going to really help you to move forward. So like I mentioned, start from the beginning when your insomnia started. All of us, it started off with some kind of disrupted sleep, whether it be some stressful event in your life or side effects from a medication, or I don't know, someone had something traumatic happen in their life. Something caused some disrupted sleep. And there's a difference between disrupted sleep and insomnia. Disrupted sleep, caused by the stressful events, the side effects, things like that. You don't get as good quality of sleep. But insomnia is when you have a fear-based reaction to that sleeplessness. So we'll get there. So you started off with some disrupted sleep. And normally, if you're like, okay, this is normal, this is what happens when this stressful event or these side effects that cause it, and you don't worry about it too much, then it's self-limiting and it corrects itself with time. Now, if you start, maybe you have one night, you're like, oh, this sucks. And then it happens again, you have some more disruptive sleep, and you start like, oh no, this isn't great, this isn't normal, this shouldn't happen. I need to stop this, I need to fix this. You start kind of getting on that cycle. That's when you're beginning on that cycle of trying to constantly control and fix and change your sleep and make sleep happen, which you can't do. So you're like, okay, maybe I'll take some melatonin. Maybe that's how you start off. That's a common one that people do. So you go get melatonin and then you take it that night and you're like, oh God, I hope it works. So you're kind of stressed out about not getting sleep, and then you start focusing on your sleep. You're like paying attention. Okay, is it going to make me sleep? Is it going to work? Is it going to happen? Am I going to sleep tonight? And then all that stress and hyperarousal levels are going up because you're worried that you're not going to sleep. And then lo and behold, you don't sleep. Now you become even more frustrated, even more worried. And that's when you're like, oh my gosh, I need to step it up. So you start finding more things that you can do. Maybe take melatonin or CBD, or you start doing yoga, or whatever it may be. You're like, oh God, I really need this to work. It has to work. I need to sleep. And then you're starting to stress more, you're worrying more, you're more frustrated that nothing has worked so far. And then you go to bed with all these feelings, all the stress, all the worry. Your hyperarousal levels are up, and then of course it doesn't work. So next day you are beyond frustrated. That you are worried, you feel like there's something wrong with you. There's got to be something seriously, I don't know, some serious medical condition or something that's wrong with you. So you try more and then it doesn't work. You get frustrated. Your stress levels are up. So of course you're not going to be able to sleep. And then you don't sleep again, and just this cycle continues on and on and on. And this cycle is what's maintaining it and why you are still struggling with sleep. It's not something external that you need. It's not some pill or some supplement or anything like that. It's getting off of this cycle, because there are two things that we need to sleep. You need sleep. You need high sleep drive and no hyperarousal. You don't want any hyperarousal levels. So sleep drive is basically how tired you are. The longer you are awake, the higher your sleep drive. It's a buildup of a chemical, adenosine. I won't go into the details, but the longer you're awake, the more sleepy you are. It's kind of like when you're hungry. The longer you go between meals, the hungrier you get. Now, insomnia is almost never a sleep drive issue. So there's two things we can focus on: sleep drive and hyperarousal. Sleep drive, like I mentioned, most insomnia is not a sleep drive issue, except for people who sleep and nap a lot during the day because they didn't sleep at night. They are reducing their sleep drive, so then they can't sleep at night. Anytime you sleep during the day, take naps, do anything like that, it's going to decrease the sleep drive. So a little nap here and there during the day, that's not a big deal. But when you're doing a lot of sleeping during the day, then you can cause that issue. So instead, most insomnia, probably 99%, is a hyperarousal issue. Your hyperarousal levels are up. And what causes hyperarousal is that stress, that worry, that frustration, that focusing and monitoring your sleep. Like, is it working? Is it going to work? Is it doing it? All the puzzlement and worry, and I already said worry, and just confusion, and all of that is just creating these high hyperarousal levels. The more you focus on your sleep, the more you try to control it, the more you try to force sleep, the more you're going to struggle with sleeping, because it's going to raise those hyperarousal levels. When we can break that cycle, get off the cycle and stop trying to control our sleep, that is when our hyperarousals are going to come down and they are going to level off, and then we can start to sleep again. So that's it. Just a very basic overview. I can't think of anything else I want to say here. This isn't scripted or anything. I'm just going off of things that I've seen people post in my comments and in my messages that I wanted to address here. I did want to talk about, I'm going to add something. So your brain is a survival machine, and it identifies threats and tries to keep us safe, to help us survive. And it can't tell the difference between an actual physical threat like a bear, a lion, or whatever running after us, or a perceived threat. And when we fear, remember, insomnia, I mentioned, is a fear-based reaction to sleeplessness. You're fearing that sleeplessness. When you fear something and you're trying to escape it by taking pills and doing all these different things, you're telling your brain that there's a threat out there, and it doesn't know the difference. It's just a very ancient survival mechanism in our brain. It doesn't understand that there isn't an actual physical threat. So the more we try to escape the sleeplessness, the more we try to fight the insomnia, the more your brain thinks, oh, there's a threat, and it needs to strengthen that fight or flight system, which is keeping us awake. So like I mentioned, the more we can break that cycle, the more we can bring those hyperarousal levels down. And the more we can get off of this cycle, the more we can teach our brain that we are safe. We're not trying to escape something. We're not going to be fearing this sleeplessness. The more we can get to a place of, okay, I'm not sleeping tonight. I can't make myself sleep right now. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm just going to do something I enjoy, since I can't be asleep anyway, until my body tells me, okay, let's try to go to sleep again. So this is all the base knowledge, and so important to understand, because you're not going to find the answers in another pill, another supplement, another meditation or binaural beats or whatever they're called. I don't know. There's so many things out there. And the answer does not lie in those. The answer lies in getting out of that cycle and getting to a place of peace and not trying to fight the insomnia, if that makes sense. So that's it for now. I hope that was helpful because I was mind blown when I first learned this. And this method that I teach has transformed my sleep. It has made a huge difference. I get about 7 hours of sleep every night. And I mean, last night I didn't have to get up once, which is amazing. I know that has nothing to do with it. I always have to get up like 3 times to go to the bathroom, but my sleep, I'm rambling. It's trust me, this is a great method, and hopefully what I said today makes a lot of sense. And if you have any questions, let me know below. Bye.